I've got a special partner, I like to say, with us today with Roof Shampoo. Well, welcome here, Sandy. Thanks for joining us today. And those who might be watching, Roof Shampoo. It's a great, I know how I got into it, but love to hear how you came up with the name Roof Shampoo and how you got started in this crazy cleaning roofing business that we're all in.
Well, it was pretty random, to be honest with you. I was looking at the calendar today. It's been 21 years.
Wow.
We literally started the whole concept at the beginning of 2005. And my husband was in finance. He was actually a Series 7 licensed stockbroker with one of the major firms. I was in the criminal justice field training sheriff's department employees, setting up training programs nationally. So I was kind of traveling around. Our kids at this point, the youngest was in college. And honestly, Adam, it was so random because both my husband, whose name is Joe and I for years had this just like burning desire to start our own business. We loved what we were doing. We loved our careers. We were very fortunate to have the jobs that we had, but we both just really wanted to own our own business. I couldn't tell you where it came from, but it was just something we both had inside of us. But we never could really figure out what it was, and we were kind of too busy to worry about it and think about it. But one day we were out of town visiting some family members in Annapolis. We live in Maryland, in Western
Okay.
Maryland, but Annapolis is about 2 hours from where we live. And it was a beautiful spring day. We saw a van drive by that had roof cleaning on it. Now, if you remember back then, I know you've been in the roofing business a long time, roofs really weren't dirty, probably where you are even then. But we were
Correct.
just starting to see the algae stains on roofs. So when we saw that van, we thought, yeah, that's really interesting. So we started to really notice, like we kept our eyes open, that these stains were appearing on shingles. Had never
Mm.
noticed it before. So we did some research. We found out that the product he was using didn't work very well. We knew we wanted to try something, but we were never going to try anything that had bleach in it because we knew enough to know that that was very unsafe, not only for any landscaping, but certainly to breathe in those fumes. It was just wasn't something we wanted to mess with. So we basically tried everything that there was available, in the open market. Honestly, some of the products worked okay some of the time, but they had all kinds of other issues. Like it had to be over 60 degrees to use it. You couldn't use it if the roof was wet. They were slimy. It was really hard to rinse it off once you got the product on. It would like take all the dirt and attach it to the gutters, and then you couldn't
Ooh.
get it off them. I mean, there was just all kinds of issues. So we kind of thought, okay, there's a problem out there, and there's really no solution for it yet. So we did a little bit of national search, and we contacted a chemical company that was willing to work with us. They'd never made that kind of a product before, but they made cleaning products, but never anything for roofs. So we kind of told him down the line, well, here's what we wanted to do, and here's what we don't want it to do. And so Joe worked with the different products, over about 6 months until we came up with a product that worked really well. And about that same time, we also had equipment, okay, the equipment that you currently have. But at that time, Joe was working with a local like pressure washing company, if you will. And so we need something to help rinse this off. We spray it on, it pulls all the staining up to the surface, but what can we do to rinse it off? To rinse it off thoroughly, safely, quickly. And so they came up with the system that we currently have and even custom designed the disc. So it's a 30-inch round disc and it's got a bar underneath with the fan tip sprays. The pump pushes the water out, so it's low pressure, high volume. So everything was like had to be totally in sync. The product, the equipment, and the rinsing tools. And so we did that just for us. It was never
Right.
our intention to sell it to anybody.
That's amazing. So you saw the van, you realized you saw the issue with staining, which you're right, we didn't really have 30 years ago. Um, and you came up with a solution, and then you decided, let's do this as a business. And how'd you start marketing that? How'd you get Roof Shampoo? Is it copyrighted? Do you own that phrase?
Yeah, we own it. Yeah, we registered. It's registered with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Yes,
Love
it
the
was just.
logo. Love the logo, Stanley. We get compliments all the time on the logo. People love
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
And so you started rolling with that. And what year did you start? You said 2004?
2000, yeah, 2004, but 2005, towards the end of 2005 is when we really had the system perfected pretty well. And
Okay.
then Joe was out using it. We didn't have the name yet, but we started more and more. We're seeing the roof stains. He's just working on weekends. We're still working at our jobs.
Right.
And we eventually just started joking around. Look, that roof needs shampoo. That roof needs shampoo, just amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And then one day we decided, well, that's a pretty cool name. Let's see if anybody's ever used it. And they didn't. So we applied for a trademark. We hired a graphic artist to help us come up with the logo.
Right.
And again, Adam, this was all just for us. We were never thinking of going national with it. But then we put it on the van, the big logo on the van. And as luck would have it, Joe's mother lives right on an interstate, what do you call it? Like I-81 interstate exchange where people, get off to get gas and everything. Well, he had gotten a call from a property manager from New Jersey, which is like a 4-hour drive from where we live, saying, hey, I was, got off, got gas, saw your van. Do you guys do roof cleaning in New Jersey? I have a seniors community here. It has 200 roofs and they're all dirty. And of course, we're brand new going, sure, yeah, we go to New Jersey. So Joe being from New Jersey, it was a little easier. So he takes the van, he drives up to Jersey, talks to this guy, gives him an estimate, comes back by the next Monday, he's starting to get calls from all these just homeowners in New Jersey. Hey, I saw
Oh.
your van. Do you do it up
Mm.
here? So he started going up on weekends doing, because we live in a small rural community here in Maryland, but that area was pretty well populated. There's a lot of people up there. So he would drive up on the weekends and do the cleaning. And then I'm handling the phone calls and, doing what I can with the estimates. And again, we're still working full time and we're, trying to get all this in.
Wow.
And then what really blew it wide open was a fellow from New York was visiting his family in New Jersey and he saw the van and he was a contractor. So he called us and he said, hey, where do you get that product? Do you sell that
Mm.
product? Is there any way I can get that product? And we've since called him Dealer One, but he
Hmm.
was our very first dealer. And at that point, we set up the dealer model and realized we really had something that other people could use to help their customers, deal with the problem of the roof stains.
You figured out it worked. You're working it. Now you set up the dealership agreements. It's amazing because I found you, and how I found you is kind of a funny story. We were power washing roofs. We were using chemicals that weren't good for the environment. I'll admit to that. 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and we had power washed the roof. And for people that don't know about power washing, at a certain distance it can work where it's very light, but nobody's consistent with it. It goes up and it goes down. As you go down, the pressure gets more. We had actually blown lines in this person's roof. It looked like we wrote on their roof, like scribbles. What the pressure actually does, as you know, it can blow the stones, which is the protective coating of the
Right,
shingle, which
right.
opens up the asphalt to the sun like a road. If asphalt's exposed to the sun, it cracks. So that's
Right.
what, if we could coat all these roads with shingle granulars, we'd be no more cracks. But that might be too much to ask. But so we, in theory, wrecked this person's roof. So I was doing a $500 roof cleaning. I ended up having to go on the roof, see that we wrecked it, and spend $5,000 replacing her small
Oh,
roof. And I realized,
man.
wow, what are we doing here? I can't trust the guys to do it without wrecking roofs. We're not going to do roof cleaning anymore. So I was on the internet and I was Googling, there has to be a different way. People must be doing it a safe way. I think I looked up safe way to clean a roof and I saw your logo. When I saw the logo, I was like, wow, that's memorable. And I dug more into it and realized you guys have an eco-friendly solution, your mix you came up with. So I like that as far as the environment. We aren't going to wreck any grass or bushes or have any problems handling the material. And I think it's been about 15 years we've been with you. And I could say
It has
today
been.
we
Mm-hmm.
average about 200 to 300 roofs a year. So you can do the math, thousands of roofs. We've never once had a customer say, my bushes died or the grass is brown because of your shampoo, because it doesn't happen. The only
Right.
problem we had one time, it's kind of a funny story. The overspray had gotten on someone's deck And then when we washed it, the spray off, it was cleaned in certain
Right.
areas. We realized it cleaned the deck, but not good enough. So we had to shampoo their deck and clean the rest of their
Right.
deck. So now we try to cover up for overspray.
Right.
So we're not cleaning more than we're supposed to be. But the product works great. It really is. You are one of our longest partners besides our shingle manufacturer. We're doing repeats now that we've done 2 and even 3 times because it tend to last. People always ask, how long does a shampoo last?
Mhm.
And I like to say, well, it kind of depends on the conditions, as you know. What would you say to someone like a customer, because you're the big boss here?
Right.
Someone
Well,
asks, how long should the shampoo last?
Joe's experience was that typically he never went back within 3 years. He would always give a 1 year warranty because he knew that he was removing everything. He knew that the product was reliable, consistent, that when you sprayed it on properly and you rinsed it off properly and you took those shingles to the condition of brand new in terms of cleanliness, it wasn't going to come back
Right.
because at least not in a year. But the roof is outside, and like anything else, sooner or later, the dust, the dirt, the pollen, starts collecting on the shingles, the spores. Then when they land on the roof, they then have their initial food source once it starts to get dirty. And that can take up to like 2 or 3 years or more even. So he used to tell people, we'll guarantee it'll be clean for a year, but typically I only see it come back within 3 to 5 years. And that's very reasonable. I mean, there's nothing that you have that's outside or inside for that matter that doesn't eventually need to be cleaned again. I mean, it's just nature. So he found that he worked in Jersey for over 10 years and he was getting a lot of, after about 5 years, he would start to get the repeat calls. Hey, you cleaned my roof once before. It looked really great. We really loved it. Can you come and do it again? So I would say 3 to 5 years is pretty typical.
I would agree too, just on our history here, depending on how much sunlight they get and where the trees
Right.
are. But yeah, we still give the 1 year warranty. We've never had to go back when
Right.
stains have happened in the first year. But 3 to 5, if it's going to be as bad as it was before, maybe it's 7 to 10. But I always tell people
Right.
that typically you're only going to clean your roof twice, more than likely, because you're not cleaning it usually in the first 10 years.
That's
So
right.
our sweet spot maybe is a 12 to 20-year-old roof. We're cleaning it. If we get 5 to 7 more years out of it, you may consider at that point replacing it versus cleaning it again. But oftentimes we can do it twice, and that's been our what we've
Right.
noticed up here up north. Um,
And what I
your
think,
process, yeah. Go ahead, Sandy.
well, I was just going to say real quick, what I think people don't often understand, and I'm sure you explain it to me because you're a roofer, you know it as well as anybody, is that leaving those organisms and that staining on the shingle is actually bad for it. It's not just that it looks bad,
Right.
it's literally feeding off the organic material in the shingle. Plus, if it's really dark with the stains or it's really covered with moss or lichens, it's not functioning properly. Your shingles are going to absorb the heat. It's going to, overwork your cooling system. And there's just lots of reasons to get it clean other than just the aesthetics. But certainly the aesthetics is huge, what a difference it makes.
You're right. And maintaining it can make it last longer, basically. If you're not maintaining your roof, it won't last as long,
Right,
to put it. And what we're
right,
seeing up here, and I'm sure it's same everywhere in the country, is insurance companies now are doing flyovers with their drones or maybe drive-bys, and they're saying they see a dirty, ugly looking roof or stained, however you want to describe it,
right,
and they're saying, fix that roof or else we're not going to insure you.
right,
So what we're finding when we go out, oftentimes the customer's so excited, we let them know your roof's in pretty good shape here. You don't need to replace it. I know you said it's 15 years old, but with a cleaning and maybe a roof tune-up, we can extend the life of your roof and get the insurance off your back. So a lot of times that cost can be $1,500 to $2,000 on a smaller home, but versus 10 to 15,000 of a roof
right,
replacement on that home. And more times than not, it's the north side that we're cleaning, and we're not always cleaning the entire house. So
right,
sometimes we
right.
get both, but sometimes it's just one side that it needs to be cleaned. So we're seeing that a lot with insurance companies. Are you hearing that from your other dealers about the
A lot.
insurance?
As a matter of fact, I just got a call from a fellow in California. They're really bearing down on it in California right now. Certainly in New Jersey, I'm not sure. I don't think it's in all the states, but there are some states that are really becoming more and more aggressive about it. And I'm sure that'll spread from state to state. And if I can say here, Adam, you're really giving your customers a gift when you can go to them and say, look, we can take care of not only the insurance problem, but the problem of this degrading your roof by leaving it on there, and the problem of just how it looks for, like you said, what, maybe $1,500 or something, as a whatever, what it depends on the size and shape and difficulty of the shingles. But oh my gosh, to get them another 10 years, maybe 15 years out of their shingles, and they're going to trust you. At this point, they're going, okay, Quenneville Roofing and Siding has just done us a favor. They could just as well have come and said, hey, you need your roof ripped off and replaced, but they didn't. They gave us an option that was reasonable, feasible, that is really going to help us. And 9 times out of 10, maybe even more, when it comes time for a new roof, they're going to call you, Adam, because you've already showed
Right.
them that you can be trusted and you care about them and what the best option for them is.
We're seeing that happen a lot now, Sandy, being that we've been doing roof shampoo now almost 15 years. Is yes, you did me 10 years ago, you cleaned my roof and it's 25, 30 years old. It's dirty again, but I think now it's time to replace it. Come out and take a look. Yes, I
Right.
knew initially when we were going to be doing this, it was a service that not every contractor wanted to provide. A lot of them want to go in, your roof's old, it's dirty, it's not new, even though it's 12 or 15 years old, and let's replace it. What also I love about your process is you, there's no, you could explain how it's cleaned. But there's no brushes cleaning. We're not brushing your roof and touching
No.
those granulars at all. Can you explain really how the process takes a little longer, a lot longer than someone power washing, but why this process that you came up with is better for the roof and for the customer?
Right. It is a low pressure, high volume. So our machines are commercial machines. It's not something you can go to Lowe's and purchase. And they're specially modified and calibrated by our technicians to work specifically with the roof shampoo system. And that goes as far as how it actually dilutes the product before you're spraying it on. That's all happening automatically for you guys. We've done all that engineering. But as far as what you're talking about, the rinsing, you spray the product on, and as you know, it works instantly. You don't have to wait for it. There's no dwell time. It instantly, you can see it pulling the staining up to the surface. And then the rinsing system, you can hold your hand under the spray, as you know, and we show that in some of our videos. So what it does, the disc in particular, and as far as a dealer perspective like you are, it when we first started, the rinsing was all done with the wand. So it took twice as long. Well, then Joe and our technicians at the place, the company that assembles all our equipment, they worked together and they developed and engineered and literally custom build those discs just for us. It's lightweight aluminum. It's very safe to roll up and down the roofs. It has the caster wheels, but it has a bar underneath with a nozzle on each end that's a fan spray nozzle. So it's a wide fan spray that's high volume, low pressure. So the purpose is to just rinse away all that dirty water and all that staining and all the organisms that come up with it, and you just rinse it all away. So it's flushed clean. And it's just a really safe and effective and immediate result system that really I think sets it apart. And what it's a wow factor because your customers, I always say you don't tend to meet their expectations, you exceed their expectations when you clean the roof. It's often because they don't even realize how dirty it is
Oh,
because it takes time to get, it's like gradual. And
yeah,
then once you clean it all away, they're like, wow. I
yeah.
mean,
Wow.
it's huge.
We get the wow. It looks like a new roof all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And when you talk about safety, I just want to touch on that. Your process is safe for the roof, but what we do to make sure we're safe is we're following OSHA when we're up there. The guys are wearing a harness, they're tying themselves off. So
Yeah.
customers often ask, I got a bid to clean my roof for $800. Why are you 2000? And
Hmm.
there's a lot of reasons why. Because we're doing it the
Right.
right way, we're doing it safely. We have insurance to be on your roof. I've always said to
Yep.
customers, are you sure the guy who power washes your roof, who
Right.
might do other odd jobs, has insurance to be up there?
Hmm.
If most of the time he never does,
No.
but even if he does, is he going to follow OSHA guidelines to make sure he's being safe? I've never seen anybody do that besides real companies that take it to the next level. So
That's right.
besides the safety for the roof and doing it the right way, not with high pressure, you also got to watch the safety of the workers because it's a process.
That's
It's
right.
not we're not in and out of there in a couple hours. It's several hours.
Mhm.
We come with a 3-man team, 2 people on the roof doing the process, 1 person on the ground with a hose, just to get the gutter, just so we're not cleaning the gutter afterwards. We're spraying the gutter if there's any overflow, or and he's also there to make sure if anyone's coming in and out of the house, he's dealing with the machine. So our process is 3 men that go out to the job with the trailer and practice a safe way to do it along with your safe process, and it works great for the customer. I wanted to touch on that on the safety end.
No, and that's a really good point about the insurance because I think homeowners don't realize that if they may have liability insurance, but if they hire a company that's supposed to, by the laws of your state, have insurance and they don't, and there's an injury, your liability insurance very likely is not going to cover that because you didn't do your due diligence to make sure who you brought on your property to do what you asked them to do, that they were properly licensed and insured for that matter. If
You're
there's
right.
licensing is required, different states have different requirements for that. But that's so important, for in so many ways. And I want to bring up one other thing with
Sure.
safety. There is a lot of roof cleaners out there, and I hate to disparage other companies, but I think it's important for homeowners to know that people will use bleach and they won't tell you that it's bleach. They'll call it other names. So my recommendation to a homeowner is if they want to go out and get bids, if they want to compare companies, make sure to ask them straight out, are you using chlorine bleach? Because they're not going to tell you that unless you ask. And hopefully, if you ask, they will tell you honestly. But it's very important to know that because bleach is very dangerous to inhale. And particularly, you talk about the safety of your crew. I mean, if you've got crew up there spraying, high concentrated chlorine bleach and they're breathing it in and day out, this is just it's toxic. It's a chlorine gas. It's just not good. Not good for the homeowners either. It can seep in through the vents and other ways it can get in the house. It can waft through the neighborhood and the neighbors will smell it. Some of the people that use it even put scents like citrus scents in it so you can't smell
To
it.
mask
So
it.
I would just say to the homeowners, it's your choice who you're going to hire for sure, but just do your homework and really make sure that the company you're using is licensed if they're supposed to be licensed, that they have insurance for sure, and that you know what they're using.
You're right. And when you say insurance, homeowners should watch out for liability insurance is the easier, cheaper one to get. It's
Yeah,
the workers' compensation,
that's right.
the workers that are going to be there that potentially could get hurt. That's the one that costs the most, and that
Yes,
drives
it
up the
does.
cost of the job. But
Hmm.
again, those are important things for homeowners to watch and to look for, and that's why I'm kind of doing this show. The theme is helping homeowners out,
Yes.
and we're helping homeowners out with using your product in a safe way, safe for the environment, and helping them, stopping them from maybe getting sold a roof when they don't really need a roof.
I would just like to say, Adam, if you wanted to talk a little bit about how roof shampoo kind of, if you, what's the word, pairs well with rejuvenation too, because your company does rejuvenation,
Sure. Yeah,
and
you're
that it
right.
kind of makes for a blank canvas to apply your rejuvenation product on it. So for your
Right.
customers that are doing both, having both services or one or the other, it's not a bad idea to do both together if you can.
Yeah, we do that. So first thing we ought to do is, we always want to clean the roof. But once it's clean, we do a rejuvenation called Roof Max, and there's a few different ones out there. I believe in Roof Max. It's another uh, product that's safe for the environment. It's based with soy. It's mostly soy oil, which is combined with water. And what that does, a little different than yours, that actually penetrates into the asphalt and makes the asphalt more flexible. So we find a lot of customers that want their roof cleaned. They're conscious about making it last longer. They're not just calling because the insurance called. They're calling because they know it's dirty, it's ugly, and it's probably hurting their roof. So we go in with the roof shampoo, and then we try to make them aware of Roof Max, which we have on the truck. So if we're already there cleaning the roof, just to spray
Right.
that once over with the Roof Max goes hand in hand. roof rejuvenation with roof cleaning, with roof shampoo. I don't know. I don't believe in any other way. I've never seen another product similar to yours. I've only seen what we call the bleachers that are out there that get in and
Right.
out really quick. I've been down in Florida a lot, and I see these guys. They're not harnessed. They're on the roofs. They're spraying as
Yeah.
hard as they can. Homeowner might not notice any damage. They might not put lines in it like I did on that roof we
Right.
wrecked.
Right.
But a few years later, they got leaks because it's penetrated through the surface, and they just think, "Oh, my roof didn't last as long." Maybe they forget it was power washed 3 or 4 years
Oh,
ago,
yeah, that's
and it's
true.
only 12 years old. Now it's 15 years old, and it's leaking. There's no way to go back to the power washer and prove it was because of him. It might not. So what I'm saying, you might not see the problem right after that power washer left, but typically in a few years, you've hurt your roof and you've left
Right.
gapways for the water to get in because those stones again are protecting asphalt.
Yeah.
And once those stones are gone, and they in
Yeah.
time they gradually lose themselves. But when you power wash, you can get rid of them really quick. So
That's right.
you're gonna power wash your roof. Buyer
Mhm.
beware. I mean, 99%
Yeah.
of them I think are bad. That are gonna go bad. Maybe you get the one guy who's got it real light. He's way up in the air, and he can be perfect and never push it down.
Yeah, I always say if you're power washing the roof, the reason it looks cleaner is because you just blew off all the granules that had the staining on it. You didn't clean the roof, you just kind of blew it away. And the thing with the bleach too, it can corrode the fixtures, the metal fixtures, the flashing, you've probably seen that too. I've even seen people that have those real high dollar doorknobs. They're made out of, oh, I can't remember what it is, but there's real expensive fixtures, door fixtures, and they had to dribble down and just destroy like $1,000 door handle on some big expensive house. So bleach is, as well as power washing, really has an opportunity to create damage and havoc around the home.
Yeah. So everybody who's listening, eventually gonna watch this, be careful. Do your homework. Make sure you're hiring somebody who's got insurance, not only to cover themselves but the workers. Make sure they're being safe when they're there. Make sure
Mhm.
they're not using bleach or chemicals that are bad for the environment, bad for the workers, bad for your home. Consider us with Roof Shampoo or a Roof Shampoo dealer near you. How do people find? Because you've got how many dealers now across the country?
Well, right now we are in 20 states with our dealers are covering, I had to write this down so I remembered, up to 35 million people in their service areas.
Wow.
So if you add it all up, our dealers have cleaned over 125 million square feet of roof surfaces, over 100,000 roofs. So we've been doing this for 20 years, and I like to say that Roof Shampoo has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and I mean, you can trust us and you can trust our dealers. And Adam, somebody like you, a company like yours is exactly the kind of people that we look for to sign up as roof shampoo contractors. We look for people that are already businesses that have shown integrity, that just show they care, that their customers and customer service is the most important thing to them. And that's why companies like yours that offer multiple services, so your customers have choices. And you're not just going in there, we do roofs, we're going to rip off your roof and give you a new one, even though it's 10 years old. And 10 years from now, you'll get algae again and you'll have to do it again. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So by offering your customers choice, you're really offering them, like I said before, a gift.
Well, thank you, Sandy. That's well said. I think that could be the wrap right there. But I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you enjoyed this. I know it's first for you, and I
Yep.
think we had a good time today. And thanks again, Sandy.